Why Addis Ababa is the most important city in Africa. A well-renowned city that hosts major international organs like the African Union, UNESCO Africa, the OAU and much more, coupled with breathtaking sights and mesmerizing infrastructure. There's quite a lot to chew on the plate of Addis Ababa. This is a city that has worn its heart on its sleeve since it was founded by Ethiopian Emperor Menelik in 1892. Boasting a cityscape that changes almost daily, with rickety wooden scaffolding creeping slowly skyward, Addis has more than enough history and size to warrant more than just a stopover. Better yet known as the African capital due to its historical, diplomatic and political significance for the continent, the beautiful city of Addis Ababa is located in the foothills of the Ntoto Mountains and standing 7,726 feet above sea level. It is the third highest capital in the world. It is located in the geographic center of the country, when the city was at risk due to a shortage of firewood in the early 1900s. An ambitious campaign to plant eucalyptus trees imported from Australia in and around the city essentially secured its lasting location. Today, a green belt of forests and semi-subsistence cultivated land surrounds the city. This historically significant city in this enchanting mountain setting is recognized as one of the world's most problematic, yet fascinating and beautiful cities. Yet what makes the city so very important in Africa? Other major cities on the African continent like Lagos in Nigeria, Cape Town, South Africa and Nairobi, Kenya have earned the top spots in the rankings of major innovative cities in Africa. But when it comes to the most relevant and important cities, Addis Ababa can never be more recognized. So take a moment to subscribe if you haven't done so yet and click the bell icon to get notified on my future uploads. And let's get into this. Demographics. For starters, let's consider Addis Ababa demographically. Addis Ababa has a population of over 5.2 million inhabitants as of 2022, being a 4.43% increase from 2021 statistics. This is an overwhelming growth considering the 2007 census, which revealed a population of just over 3.1 million inhabitants, of which over 1.5 million were men and the rest women. There is a consistent average of 8% annual growth rate. The highest standing and ensuring life in Addis Ababa keeps attracting more tourists and citizens by the year. The city is home to 23.8% of all urban dwellers in Ethiopia and has an estimated density of 5,936.2 per square kilometer. It is the 106th largest urban area in the world, according to Demographia. Almost all the Ethiopian ethnic groups are represented in Addis Ababa due to its position as capital of the country. Close to half of the population are from the ethnic group Amhara, while the remaining population is predominantly split among the groups Oromo, Gurage, and Tigray. About 82% of the population are Orthodox Christians, 12.7% being Muslims, and 3.9% Protestants, 0.8% being Catholics, while the remaining 0.6% are followers of other religions such as Hindus, Jews, Baha'is, and agnostics. One of the most prestigious universities in Africa, Addis Ababa University, was founded in 1950 and was originally named University College of Addis Ababa, then renamed in 1962 for the former Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie I, who had donated his Geneti Leal Palace to be the university main campus in the previous year. It received its current name in 1975, although the university has 6 of its 7 campuses within Addis Ababa. It also maintains branches in many cities throughout the country. It is the home of the Institute of Ethiopian Studies and the Ethnological Museum. The city also has numerous private colleges including Atmas College, Ethiopian Civil Service College, and the Unity University College. Addis Ababa as the place of humankind's origins. You might not have heard this before, but did you know Ethiopia has often been called the origin of humankind due to various hominid fossils discoveries found by archaeologists and history researchers? Such a popular hominid fossil discovered in Addis Ababa is the Anthrophobilis medicine Lucy, northeastern Africa and the Afar region in particular. It was the central focus of these claims until recent DNA evidence suggested origins in south-central Ethiopian regions like present-day Addis Ababa. After analyzing the DNA of almost 1,000 people around the world, geneticists and other scientists claimed humans spread from what is now Addis Ababa 100,000 years ago. The research indicated the genetic diversity declined steadily the farther one's ancestors traveled from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, which is roughly the site of the extant turnstile for the out-of-Africa migration. In all of Africa, there hasn't been such mind-bending discoveries on the origins of human life as seen in Ethiopia, precisely in the city of Addis Ababa. government. One of the most determinant factors that help to reveal how important the city is in the continent is the political and social infrastructure put in place. You see, Addis Ababa is one of two self-governing administrations in the 9 ethnically based states that make up the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. The nation is unique among African countries in that the ancient Ethiopian monarchy maintained its freedom from colonial rule, with the exception of the 1936 to 41 Italian occupation during the World War II. Ethiopia, therefore, is the oldest independent country in all of Africa, and one of the oldest in the world, at least 2,000 years old. Now, this puts Addis Ababa on a class of its own, as it has a status of both a city and a state, with a charter endorsed by the national government. The mayor has responsibilities that include primary, secondary, and college education, primary health care, health centers and hospitals, policing, water supply and infrastructure. The city council, which is elected regularly every 5 years, provides the mayor with a cabinet which functions to help the mayor in decision making. The administration of Addis Ababa consists of the mayor, who leads the executive branch, and the city council, which enacts city regulations. However, as part of the federal government, the federal legislature enacts laws that are binding in Addis Ababa. Members of the city council are directly elected by the residents of the city, and the council in turn elects the mayor among its members. The term of the office for elected officials is 5 years. However, the federal government, when it deems necessary, can dissolve the city council and the entire administration and replace it with a temporary administration until elections take place next. Residents of Addis Ababa are represented in the federal legislature, the House of People's Representatives. However, the city is not represented in the House of Federation, which is the federal upper house constituted by the representatives of the member states. The executive branch under the mayor comprises the city manager and various branches of civil service officers. Adenek Abebe is serving as the mayor of Addis Ababa since 2020, preceded by Tekele Uma Bante. She is the first woman to hold mayorship since its creation in 1910. Before Tekele, the federal government appointed Benhane Deresa to lead the temporary caretaker administration that served from 9th May 2006 to 30th October 2008 following the 2005 election crisis. In that year's national election, the ruling EPRDF party suffered a major defeat in Addis Ababa. However, the opposition who won in Addis Ababa did not take part in the government, both on the regional and federal levels. This situation forced the EPRDF-led federal government to assign a temporary administration until a new election was going to be carried out, and as a result, Benhane Deresa, an independent citizen, was appointed. Status as Africa's political, diplomatic capital. In terms of diplomacy and relevance and status of Addis Ababa to Africa, there's little to no debate. As a headquarters of the African Union and the UN Economic Commission of Africa, or the UNECA, Addis Ababa, the capital of Ethiopia, has emerged as an international center with diverse economic and cultural characteristics. The city has evolved from a relatively modern-sized, where pack animals and pedestrians shared main highways with modern automobiles, to a cosmopolitan center where freeways, high-rise buildings for offices, shopping, hotels and restaurants, condominiums and exclusive neighborhoods with gated communities have become a common scene everywhere. World Economic Forum recent report. The World Economic Forum released on our official site an abstract of the 2015 held Third International Conference on Financing for Development, which took place in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia's capital, a city full of symbolic importance for all of Africa. Most developing countries held high expectations for the conference. The significance of the conference was to offer new means to improve social welfare at a time when financing their development needs had become increasingly difficult. For most African countries, the key challenge nowadays is structural economic transformation. Simply put, African economies must be able to create enough good jobs to employ growing populations. Africa is home to over 1 billion people, 74% of whom are younger than 24, and 61.3% of whom are women. The United Nations predicts that by 2040, just one generation from now, Africa's total population will exceed 2 billion, 70.1% under the age of 25, with women accounting for 57.7%. These young men and women's needs are increasingly demanding high-quality education and jobs. Thus, African governments must seize this opportunity to advocate for increased financing for sustainable development, building on the mobilization of more significant domestic revenue. It comes as no surprise that the city of Addis Ababa was chosen for such an important conference, because the city is a beacon of hope unto all Africa. In this sense, the conference in Addis Ababa was held at an opportune moment because it coincided with efforts to revise the rules of the international tax system. Some 14 countries, including Senegal, were involved in the implementation of the base erosion and profit shifting, or BEPS, the project which sought to create greater transparency in taxation regimes. Economy. Due to a political and socio-cultural reliability, the city of Addis Ababa is sprawling in Africa as an economic haven for other African nations to trade with. Addis Ababa's economy is growing rapidly and is leading among other cities in Ethiopia and Africa at large. Over the last 2 decades, the city shifted to development-oriented programs and privatization. In late the 1990s, the Office for Revision for Addis Ababa's Master Plan, or RAMP, and National Urban Planning Institute, or the NUPI, were launched to analyze the economic status of the city. The city covered 29% of Ethiopia's GDP and 20% of national urban development as of 2022. As of 2022, Addis Ababa generates 29% of Ethiopia's urban GDP and 20% of national urban development. Over the last 2 decades, the city saw rapid socio-economic changes and physical transformation marked by development-oriented government and the private sectors. However, the city has experienced infrastructure, transport, services, youth unemployment, and displacement problems. Industry and tourism. Since its foundation, Addis Ababa has become home to so many industries. Food factories such as flour mills, bakeries, alcohol distilleries, as well as printing press commenced in Addis Ababa in the 1890s. By the first decade of the 20th century, industrial activities became operational. A minting machine was installed in the Gibi in 1903. Food factories consisted of some bakeries, 2 oil mills, and several flour mills were opened. Addis Ababa has numerous industrial parks. Among them is Lemi Bole Industrial Park. It is located to the city administration. The park contains 20 factory sheds with total land area of about 172 hectares to produce garments. The park also developed sheds and service space on 181 hectares to make apparels and textiles. The other one is Koleto Industrial Park, also located in city administration. 279 hectares of the park are devoted to the manufacture of pharmaceutical products. Ethiopian tourist arrivals is set to reach 724,430 arrivals by 2026, from 621,570 arrivals in 2021, growing 0.6% year-on-year average rate. Since 2000, Ethiopians' demand decreased by 6.5% year-on-year. A large part of these figures are accounted for by Addis Ababa. The city, which receives a huge amount of tourists, account of the global tourist appeal to the African continent. That said, the city of Addis Ababa has its place undisputed in Africa and is definitely one of the most important cities on the continent. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. You might know a better city.